Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Delilah. If you are new here, if you are not new here, hey, welcome back. So today I am going to be doing a sit down video. I'm going to be doing a sit down video with you guys, explaining to you guys how I found out I was pregnant, my whole experience being pregnant, along with my labor and delivery experience. Girl, I know it's a whole lot going on in this video, but I think it's just better to knock it all out in one. I'm gonna see how long it goes, and hopefully I can add my labor and delivery because I don't want to be talking too much. Okay, so first things first. So I did find out that I was pregnant. No. Okay, how I found out I was pregnant. Okay, so how I found out I was pregnant. I was at work one day and I was like super nauseous, and the table was not too big. Well, this is big, but let's say it's like more of a smaller table. So I was like right here, and then my doctor was at the end of the table, and like I'm telling you, the table was not really that big, and she had soy sauce, and I kid you not, she brought out the soy sauce, and I was like, that stinks. Like I could literally smell it in my nose, and my doctor and my coworkers are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, the soy sauce. Like I literally could smell it in my nose. And they're like, you're crazy. Like, are you pregnant? And I was like, no, like I don't think I'm pregnant. And they were like, oh, like, you know, when was the last time of the month for you? And I had already knew I was late because it's very crazy how it all happened as well. I honestly never tracked my periods. I did So let me backtrack because I've been rambling. So first things first. Before I found out I was pregnant, I was on birth control. Before I was on birth control, I was very irregular. So sometimes I would like skip a month or two, and for me, it wasn't a concern because I was just irregular. So when I got on birth control, towards the end of getting off the birth control, I was starting to get regular. So I don't know, I guess that's when I started tracking. I don't really remember, but I started tracking my periods. So when I started to track my periods, that I was pregnant in June. Yeah, it was. Oh, I looked a couple days before to see my period when it was supposed to be coming, because since it was becoming monthly, you know, I was like, oh, it should be coming. And when I looked, I was like 7 days late. So whenever I was at work and they were like, oh, you know, when's the last time? And I looked and I was 10 days late. And I was like, oh, like, they're like, oh, like, you're pregnant. I'm like, no, like, I'm not pregnant. Like, you know, I've had irregular, so for me, it's really nothing new. And they were like, no, like, maybe you are, you know. And they were like, oh, you know, go home, take a test. That was on Tuesday. I don't work Wednesdays. And they're like, oh, you know, go home, take a test Wednesday, and let us know, you know, what happened. So yeah, Wednesday I went and bought a test. You know, I was pregnant because I was late. I was like, no, it's nothing. And then with the whole soy sauce thing, like, it was just crazy. Like, I kid you not, it felt like the soy sauce was in my nose. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but besides saying, like, this is a soy sauce, like, legit in my nose. And so that was a concern for them because my doctor would eat soy sauce and it would never be a problem. So just that day, it was just really bad. And I didn't think of it at the moment, but a couple days, probably like that Thursday and Friday before, I was super nauseous. But I didn't think nothing of it because honestly, like, I just don't be drinking water like I should. So I just thought, you know, like, maybe I'm just nauseous because I didn't drink enough water. So I didn't think nothing of it. So the next day, Wednesday comes, I go and buy a test. I take a test. And I put the test down and I was supposed to flip it and it said like wait 3 or 5 minutes. So I put the test down and then I went because I was gonna throw the trash from my restaurant, and it just happened so fast. Like I legit just put the test down, got the trash, was going to throw it out, and I was walking out because the test was right here on the counter, and I was like going this way, and as soon as I walked, the second line was already popping up, and I was like, girl, what? Like, I'm pregnant. And like, it hit me. Maybe I'll insert some videos here like as I'm talking and stuff, but that's how I found out that I was pregnant. And I was just like, what the actual heck, dude? Like, what the heck? And I was just like, no, like, I didn't know how to feel in the moment because I didn't plan on having a baby now, but at the same time, like, honestly, I was not being careful. Oh, and I forgot to mention, got off of birth control probably sure by December. I don't think I was on anything in December. So yeah, I was off of birth control, not being careful. And, you know, I just had to, me and my husband had the mentality of like, if it happens, it happens. And sure enough, it happened. And so when it happened, you know, like I didn't really know how to react to anything. So I had told my boyfriend, like, no, I didn't tell him anything actually. I was just so nervous. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. Like, it was too soon for me. Like, we planned to have kids at 25 and I was 23 at the moment. So I had just turned 23 and I was just like, oh my God. Like, I just didn't know what exactly to think. And took the test, it came out positive, and I just, you know, I dealt with it all day. I found out like kind of early because I had to pick him up from work. So when I picked him up for work, that's when I was gonna tell him. And it was so crazy. Like, I was not throwing up or anything before because I didn't even know I was pregnant. The same day I took the test, I kid you not, I just got like super nauseous. I actually ended up throwing up. Like, I threw up probably like, before I picked my boyfriend up, I threw up probably about 2 or 3 times. For sure not one. I was telling him like, oh my God, like I feel sick, like I just threw up. And as I was waiting for him, when I was picking him up, I threw up again, and I was like, dang, like I just threw up again. And he was like, dang, like, you know, that's crazy. And I did tell him I was taking the test, but I guess he forgot, so he never asked like if I took the test or anything, you know. And he was at work, so I didn't want to just be texting him and making him think about things like that at work, if that makes sense. So as soon as I pick him up, I didn't know how to tell him or anything. So he was driving and I kind of just like pulled out the test, and I was like, and my dumbass, it was upside down. I thought it was faced right, but it was upside down. So I was like, and he looked and he was like he had to second like this. I was like, and yeah, it was literally a quick clip. I'm not sure if I'll record it. I'm not sure if I'll put it in this video of his reaction. But yeah, it was just like that. And then it was just like, he was like, what? Like, you're for real? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I came with 2 tests, you know. I took this one, and then I wanted to take the second one when you came home, you know, so we could confirm it together. And so that's exactly what we did. The whole ride home was honestly a little quiet. Like, I didn't know what to say, he didn't know what to say. Like, you know, it just kind of happened. And we came home and we took the second test, and the first test that I took, it just popped up the 2 lines, like, you know, obviously 2 lines, yes, you're pregnant, 1 line, you're not pregnant. So it was that one, and the second one was a digital one saying like pregnant or not pregnant. So I took the digital one with him and it said pregnant. And so obviously one test comes out pregnant within like 2 seconds, and then the second one came out fast too. So that's how I found out we're pregnant. Now I'm going to talk about the symptoms that I had. Honestly, I had bad nausea and vomiting. Like, it was so bad. After 5 days of me finding out that I was pregnant, I went to the hospital because I was here at home. Like, I couldn't keep nothing down. And it was on a Monday and my boyfriend was home, and I was just so bad. Like, I was just like, oh no, like I can't do it. Like, I just didn't feel good. I was throwing up. I ate a Jello. I threw the Jello up. I drank water. I was throwing water up. Like, that's how bad my morning sickness was. And people say morning sickness, you think just the morning. Baby, mine was all day, from when I woke up to when I went to sleep. Like, it, even when I would go to sleep, I would throw up in my sleep too. Like, it was literally, I wouldn't throw up in my sleep, like I'll wake up and throw up. But it was bad. So when I went to the hospital that day, I was just here sitting on the couch with my boyfriend, not feeling good, and I literally felt like I was gonna pass out. I was like, oh no, like I cannot do this. Like, my boyfriend probably thought that I was like exaggerating, but I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, no, like I cannot. Like, I legit feel like I'm about to pass out. And my body started shaking, and I was scared because, you know, like I'm pregnant, like I feel this way, and now my body's shaking. Like, I was just like, oh no, like we gotta go to the hospital. So we ended up going to the hospital. We were there forever. And I did tell them, like, they're like, oh, what are you here for? And I'm like, oh, like I just found out that I was pregnant and this is what happened. They're like, okay, you know, hospitals, fill out paperwork, take their time. They did confirm that I was pregnant. And a little TMI, but I was so early in my pregnancy that they couldn't do an actual ultrasound. If you're a woman and you're pregnant and you've been through that, then you know the other option that they do. I don't want to say, but you know the other option that they do. I heard the heartbeat. And once I heard the heartbeat, like, I was just like, okay, like, I'm freaking pregnant. Like, I have to be a little far along in my pregnancy to hear a freaking heartbeat, you know? And so, it was like around COVID, so my boyfriend couldn't go to the back. And after my boyfriend, like, yeah, I'm for sure pregnant. And I bawled. I just started crying, like, not bad crying, like, how do you say, I started bawling, crying, but not because I was sad or scared that I was pregnant, you know, just so many emotions, you know, like, OMG, like, I'm actually pregnant, you know, like. And so it kind of, that's like when it hit me, like, baby girl, you got a whole baby in you. Until you're in them shoes, you don't understand how crucial it is. Like, it was so crucial for me. My symptoms didn't really calm down until 15 to 18 weeks. I think by 18 weeks for sure, like, at that point I was good, you know, as long as I was hydrated, you know, eating, I was good. And what I would do to kind of calm my nauseousness, like, I tried everything. I tried eating crackers as soon as I woke up. I tried eating a banana. I tried drinking water. I tried drinking Gatorade. I tried literally everything. And I forgot to mention, when I went to the hospital, they gave me an IV. And she's like, okay, you know, just sit here. You know, it'll take about 45 minutes to an hour for the whole thing to go. It was done, like, in 30 minutes. Like, I don't know if because I was so dehydrated that it went so fast, but I kid you not, it was literally like 30 minutes. I just tried to, you know, keep myself hydrated, you know, at least drinking water if I couldn't eat food, because I could not eat nothing, like, literally nothing. The only thing that actually saved my life was watermelon and grapes. Like, I lived off watermelon and grapes, and then popcorn and pickles. As bad as it sounds, popcorn and pickles, those were like my go-to. Like, that's all I could, like, keep down. Yeah, that was like my whole experience. There's not really much. I mean, I found out that I was pregnant. I was super nauseous, and that's just how my pregnancy went. Spicy stuff, I could not eat spicy stuff to save my life. I could not, I kid you not. Hot chips, I would eat one hot chip and I was like, heartburn. That as well, I got bad heartburn. Heartburn was so bad for me. I legit at one point had to keep Tums in my purse, because I'm like, if I'm on the go, if I'm at work, if I'm anywhere, I'm gonna take me some Tums. And as well, at the hospital, they gave me Zofran, but when I took the Zofran, and I went to my first OBGYN appointment, the doctor did tell me that she does, in her opinion, she doesn't recommend Zofran because it could cause a cleft lip in some babies. So if my doctor recommended me that, I didn't take it. You know, if your doctor recommends it, you go ahead and take it. You do what your doctor says. Just, that's what my doctor said, and I really like my doctor, so I went ahead and took her recommendation. There was one time my doctor wasn't there and another doctor came, and she asked me if I was still taking the Zofran, and I told her, you know, no, I wasn't taking the Zofran because of what the other doctor told me. And I honestly didn't really like her response. She literally told me, like, oh, I work at a hospital, like, I give Zofran out all the time, left to right. And she's like, it doesn't, I believe she said can cause a cleft lip, but it's very rare. I'm like, okay, like, you are not taking my feelings into consideration. Like, I'm the one pregnant, you know, you're the doctor, you should, like, people say, you know, say customers are right, you know, patient is right. And so it kind of did bother me that she said that, but at the same time, like, she wasn't my doctor, so I did not take what she said into consideration. I was like, I am not taking that Zofran, ma'am. And as well, after that, they gave me promethazine, and with the promethazine, I did get like a little, I took it one day, and the one day that I took it, I felt even worse, and I started to get like a spot here. I don't know what it was exactly, so I don't know if it was a rash or allergic reaction or what it was exactly, but after I did that, I did see that. I think it was, I took it like middle day, and then the next day I seen that I had it there, and I was like, oh no, ma'am, I'm not taking it no more. So I never took it anymore. After that, my doctor gave me some medication. I can't remember what it's called, but it started with the O, and it was as well for nausea and vomiting, and that medication helped me so much. But throughout my whole pregnancy, whenever I was nauseous, I did try not to take medicine. I tried not to rely on medicine too much because I didn't want it to affect the baby, even though it was okay for the baby. There were some days that were really tough, so I did have to go ahead and take the medicine. Towards the end of my pregnancy, girl, I was tired. I was out of breath all the time. I could like be here talking to you for 30 seconds and I'm huffing and puffing. Sometimes I would just be sitting down and I'm just like, and my boyfriend's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I just can't breathe. Like, it was pretty bad. Now I'm going to explain how I went into labor. So it was a Thursday night around 11, and I was literally, I kid you not, I just put my phone down. I was about to go to sleep because it was already late. So as soon as I put my phone down, my phone was not even down for 30 seconds, and my mom calls. How are you? How is everything? How are you feeling? And we were just talking, and I was not even on the phone with my mom for like 5 minutes, and I was in bed laying down, and I felt like kind of like a gush come out, like I peed myself, but I know I didn't pee myself, if that makes sense. So I was like, and I screamed because it was like a weird feeling. So I was like, ah, and I ran to the restroom, and my mother-in-law was asleep at the time. My boyfriend was not here because he was working out of town, so that's why he's not included in this. I don't think that he just wasn't helping me, he just was not here. And so I yelled, and my mom was like, what happened? And I ran to the restroom, and then my mother-in-law heard me, so she came. She's like, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, like I just felt water come down. I came down in my bed, and then I went into the restroom, and I stood up, and then a little bit of more water came out. And when a little bit more water came out, I was like, oh my god, like my mom's like, oh my god, your water broke. Your mother-in-law was like, no, like your water didn't break, like your water breaks and it's like a whole gush of sensation. And I've never been pregnant, and my mom had C-section, so my mom, she couldn't really tell me either. It's just like, okay, water's coming out, you're not peeing, like your water broke. And there was some water on the floor as well, and it wasn't yellow, like it was clear. And go ahead, call your doctor, see what your doctor says. And I was freaking out because I'm like, my office is closed. And my mom was like, no, like they should have an on-call nurse, just go ahead, call them, see what they tell you. So I go ahead, I call the nurse, and she's like, you like the same thing, did you feel a gush of sensation? And I'm like, no, like it just felt like I peed myself. And at this point, more came out of me, probably like 2-3 times at this point, because it went in the bed, and as I was standing talking, like it came out probably like 2 times, and it wasn't like a full-on, it was just like a little bit. And she was like, oh, okay, like I can't tell you for sure, maybe you did pee yourself, just go ahead, lay down for 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes get up, and if more water comes out, then your water did break. And so that's what I did. I laid down for about 15-30 minutes, got up, water came out. It was just a little bit, so I was like, okay, maybe I'm okay, I don't know what to think. And then I laid down like another 15 minutes, and when I got up that time, like it was kind of a lot. So calling my mom, and I was like, hey mom, like yeah, I think my water broke, like can you take me to the hospital? And she was like, yeah, like I'm watching, but I think my water broke. It wasn't like a full gush, but like more of leaking. I don't know. My mom is about to be on her way to pick me up, and I will be at the hospital shortly. I don't know how to feel. I want to cry. I'm scared. I'm nervous, anxious, everything. Like, I knew I had to pop a baby out, but like, do I really gotta pop a baby out? I don't know. I'll be back later with an update. As soon as they come pick him up, like I'll be on my way to pick you up. Like how are you feeling? You feeling any pain or anything like that? And I'm like, no, like I'm okay, everything's fine, take your time, I'll go ahead. I already did have my stuff ready, my baby stuff ready for a situation like this. And so I was like, okay, yeah, take your time, I'm gonna go ahead, shower, get ready. and make sure that I have everything that I need for in case I have to stay at the hospital. So she's like, okay, and she, by this time it was like probably like already 12, it was like an hour past, an hour and a half. She told me she was on her way. So she lives like about 20 minutes away from me. So once I knew she was like less than 10 minutes away, I started getting up. I did have everything ready, but you know, getting everything, like walking to the door and stuff. I got up and literally a gush came out. And so I put a pad on for if anything else happened. And then mom calls me and she's like, oh, okay, you know, like I'm pulling up. So mom said that. I'm like, okay. I had just changed the pad and another like gush came out. And I was like, okay, definitely, I think that's my water. Like, definitely my water broke. Like, we gotta go to the hospital. Like, I mean, I already was going to the hospital, but you know, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. I live less than 10 minutes away from the hospital, so we got there pretty quick. I get to the hospital and they take me in. They ask me what's wrong. They put me on a wheelchair. They take me upstairs to labor and delivery. And at the hospital that I had, they had like a little, and like a restroom, and then like a computer center where the nurses and doctors were, and where they would just monitor pregnant women. And so about a week before my water broke, and when I had that scare and I went to the hospital, let me explain why. So when I went to one of my appointments, the doctor, she was checking the baby and she was like, okay, you know, like everything look, baby's fine, but I just want you to go to the hospital to make sure everything is fully okay. So that's what I did. So I had a little scare about a week before, and then as I was there was a lady next to me and I can hear her, and she was saying that she's like, yeah, this time like it wasn't like a gush of sensation or my water breaking, it was more of like a trickling dripping sensation that she had, so she wasn't sure, so she went to the hospital. And then the doctor comes in and he's like, okay, we're having a baby today, and he takes her. So I had that in my mind, like one other person there, and they ended up monitoring me, and she was like, do you feel that? And I was like, no. Feel what? She's like, that's a contraction. And I was like, a contraction? She's like, yeah. I forgot to mention, whenever I went to go change in the hospital gown, I went to the restroom, and at that point, like a lot of water was just like coming out. Within like 10 minutes or less of me being there, the doctor came and she was like, okay, you know, go ahead, lay back, like I'm gonna check your cervix, see what's going on. And she's like, you know, you said water's leaking out of you, and I'm like, yeah, like I actually feel water leaking out of me now. And she's like right now, and I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. So she put on her glove real fast and she checked me. And I just want to say, when they check you for when you're dilated, that is so uncomfortable. She was like, okay, your water did rupture, you're about half a centimeter dilated, so technically you're not dilated at all. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you're not dilated at all. I have to keep you because your water ruptured, and if you go home, then an infection could happen, and we don't want anything like that. So we're gonna keep you, and you'll have your baby soon. And like I said a little bit ago, my boyfriend was not here. He was out of town working in Georgia, and I did, whenever I was getting everything ready, I did call him a couple times, but he is a very heavy sleeper, so he didn't answer the calls. And I was like, you know, okay, he didn't answer, I don't want to worry him just in case, you know, I come back home just like the scare that I had before. I didn't even finish her sentence and I started calling him, and I was like, hey, like I'm at the hospital and they're keeping me at the hospital. And he's like, oh my god, like what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, like they told me that my water ruptured. And I explained to him what happened, and he already had his plane ticket to come back on January 30th was my original due date. So he was like, he already had his plane ticket for the 25th, I believe. This all happened January 19th. And by the time I got to the hospital, yeah, it was like 2 in the morning. So it was already Friday, which was the 20th. And so he rushed real quick, and he ended up getting a plane ticket so he can come home. And it was just kind of like a whole process. He had his plane ticket and I was already at the hospital. It was around, I got my room like around 3:30. Yeah, because it was like within me being in the hospital and everything, within like an hour I had my room. He was, you know, sad and scared that he wasn't gonna be able to make it for the birth of our baby boy. He's here, you can't see him, but he's right here. But it was just kind of like so much going on at the moment. I didn't know because none of them actually explained to me, but I did end up getting Pitocin because since I wasn't dilated, they wanted me to start getting contractions very often and things like that. And since I as well wasn't dilated, they added a balloon in. I don't really know how to explain that, so if you want, go ahead and go on Google, look it up, balloon for pregnancy. I guess you can look up, I don't know. For me, that was pretty crucial because I guess just because of the fact that the Pitocin, you know, is starting the contractions, and then the balloon had all the pressure down there. So yeah, it was kind of bad, and I didn't get epidural until I was 6 centimeters. Let me go back though before I get there. From a 6 to, I believe, 12. Yeah, because the lady said it could be in a specific amount of time, and by the time they checked me, it wasn't like the fake. I honestly, it was kind of like a blur to me, so I don't remember exactly like how much oh, I was like 6 centimeters. From like 6 to 12, I was like 6 centimeters, and you go to 10 centimeters, so I only have 4 centimeters left, and my ended up getting there like around 3:30, and by that time I believe I was still 6 centimeters dilated. So we're both happy about that because obviously we did not want him to miss the birth of our baby boy, our first child. That time, like, I was just not dilating. And then I was just like slowly dilating, and we had like a whole problem. I believe it was a nurse. She checked me and she said that I was 8 centimeters, and then the doctor came and checked me, and the doctor's like, she's not 8 centimeters. And then another doctor ended up coming in and checked me, and they're like, who said that it was this? She's like, I said that she was 8 centimeters. The doctor came in and corrected me and said that she was not 8, she's 8 centimeters. And at this time, it was probably, I can't remember, but I know her shift was ending, so she was like, you know, hopefully by the time I leave my shift, you know, we can have a baby. Honestly, I can't really remember everything step by step because it was like a blur towards the end. But my nurse Taylor, shout out to her because she was so amazing. She explained to me how to push. I don't know, I just loved her overall. She was just pretty amazing, telling me like, okay, you know, I'm gonna be gone for 15 minutes, and in those 15 minutes I'm gonna come back, and then we're gonna start pushing. We're gonna do the practice pushes, and the doctor's gonna come in. So I'm like, okay, cool, go ahead. We do my practice pushes. After my practice pushes 4 times, and she was like, okay, stop, like you can't do it anymore. Like the doctor, she's in C-section, you know, try to hold it, and you know, as soon as the doctor's done, she's gonna come in here and deliver you. And I'm like, I cannot wait. Like I cannot wait. Like I have the urge, but she's like, please don't, you know, like we need the doctor here. A guy doctor came in, and when the guy doctor came in, a little before I had asked her who was gonna be delivering my baby, because at this point about 3 doctors were checking me. And so she explained to me that it was an African lady that did come to me and speak to me. And I guess when I said that, she assumed that I wanted a girl to deliver my baby. And so when the guy came in, she's like, no, like she wants a lady doctor to deliver her. And I was like, oh, I don't care who delivers me, I just want this baby out of me, because at this point, like, you know, you feel all the pressure and everything down there. And he was like walking out the room when she said that, and when I said that, she's like, okay, come back. And he came, like, he wasn't out the room yet, you know, he was just walking towards the door, and he's like turned around. She's like, okay, like we're gonna get suited up, we're gonna start pushing. And yeah, we pushed for about an hour, and within an hour I had my baby. When he was born, the cord was wrapped around his neck, and I had a mirror so I can see. So when I seen that the cord was wrapped around his neck, the rest of his body was still in me, and that honestly just gave me the courage to go ahead and just push him out, because I didn't want anything to happen to my baby. So that gave me the courage. I pushed him out. He came out a healthy big boy, 8 pounds 12 ounces. And if anybody does want to know, yes, I did get torn down there. They said that there's up to 4-degree tears that you can get. I did a 2nd degree, and they said that that was pretty good for having a big baby. That was my whole pregnancy experience and labor and delivery. So if you watched the whole thing, hello to you. Go ahead in the comments and comment the pregnant emoji. Comment the pregnant emoji so I know that you watched the whole video, because if you don't comment that, that means you skipped the whole thing. But I hope you guys enjoyed this YouTube video, and let me know in the comments down below what kind of other videos you guys want to see. At the moment it's just me, but I do plan on making this more of like a family channel of me and my baby and my husband as well. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to be taking this. Just let me know down in the comments below what kind of videos you guys want to see. If you like this sit down video with me. If you haven't already watched my last video, that one there was of my birthday. So just let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see. In my next video, I am going to be doing a Q&A, know me a little better. So as well in the comments, you know, comment down below what kind of questions you have for me, and I would gladly answer. And I will see you guys next time on my channel. Peace.